My friend, how you doing today? We're going to be talking about modal structures. Now, if you haven't already watched the video that's on Introduction to Modes, watch that. It's about 30 minutes, a little long-winded, but it does set a good foundation. Don't have to just take my musical experience or my videos for it. Go to every website, talk and listen to videos with other people, chat in the comment sections, ask questions. There's a multitude of different people you could watch to get these same theories. This is just how I explain it. The reason why I tell you to do that is every single time you watch something, you're going to find something new about this until you've seen it over 1,000 times. There's a couple people that I've watched maybe their videos a couple hundred times where you could watch where something dawns on them. There's a couple people also that just know this information inside out and then they use it as secondary. They just regurgitate it. So in my pedagogic practice, I teach something called spider exercises and teeter-totters or seesaws. I usually do something like that for this spider exercises because the fingers are all universal. And then the seesaws or teeter-totters incorporate something like this. Let's see if I have an instrument here. I do. Ukulele or guitar. So, say that I just wanted to play a chord. On a ukulele, this is a G chord. On a tenor, or a concert soprano. On a tenor ukulele, this would also be a D. But this is a G on this guy. So what we have here is the G, B, and a D. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. The chord should look familiar to guitar players out there, but to anybody playing any instrument that has watched that first video that understands how chords are laid out, G, B, D has no sharps, no flats in it. G, B, D in its actual scale can fit into the C major chord as the major fifth. It would be a major chord because it would be the 1 in the key of G and a 5 in the key of C. If that doesn't make sense, please go back to one of those videos or just see how to express yourselves with Roman numerals or see how to build chords and what the actual chord triad structures are within a major chord. They are major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, and diminished. You'll notice that when you play the 1, the 4, and the 5, that chord structure will work. And then when you play the 2, and the 3, and the 6, that chord structure will work as well. The 7th has a little bit of a different chord structure, but what it does is it takes G, A, B, C, D, E, F diminish, and it resolves to G. The F diminish is a 1 flat 3 flat 5, which is kind of like a 1 flat 3 5, which is a minor chord, but it influences that flat 5, which gives it a pull towards those two major notes slammed right in the middle of a chord structure. I digress. So, for our C major, which we're going to write up here on the board, I've got C in my 1, D is my 2, E is my 3, F is going to be my 4, G is my 5. See where I'm going here? A is going to be my 6, and B is going to be my 7. Now, granted, my 1, my 4, and my 5 are going to be the same. My 6, my 3, and my 2 are going to be the same. What are they going to be the same about? Well, one's going to be a big old major, one's going to be a minor, minor, major, major, minor. And this one on itself, this one's a diminished, so I'm just going to put a little dimmy-do right here. I love diminished chords. We'll talk more about that. In fact, in a whole other video, we'll talk about Locrian, super Locrian, augmented. We're going to talk about all these modal structures, which take 1 or 2 notes, put them sharp or flat or natural to them, and then it changes the way that our ear hears them. A great case in point is the mode we're going to work on today. It will be the first minor mode that we're going to discuss, and it is based off of the Ionian mode. So I've already said this, alluded to this. If you have not watched the Introduction to Modes, Modus, go over there and watch that one now. It's about 30 minutes. If you don't like how long it is, watch it and fast forward. I speak really fast, so it gets across really quick. The only thing I don't like about watching stuff faster, it distorts the tone of the instruments. And sometimes when I'm singing or I talk really loud or I go, ah, it gives a weird sound over the top. So long story short, bear with me. I like doing these videos, I like the concepts, and I want you to have all this information just the same way as I acquired it from different videos. This video is just another resource, just like the books you're going to buy, just like the people you're going to talk to, the shows you're going to play, the notes you're going to learn, the intervals you're going to assign in your head, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fifth, augmented fifth, minor sixth, flat 7, 1, 7, 7, 19, my resolution landing note, and my 1, my octave. Then we could go up to our 9s, our 11s, our 13s. But in this case, what we're going to do is talk about Ionian for 2 minutes, until about 7 minutes on this video, and then we're going to talk about the Dorian mode, and then I'm going to play a couple examples, and the rest is for you to figure out, all right? So, a good basis from this is knowing that C major has no sharps and no flats. When C major has no sharps and no flats, I'm able to take the C, the D, the E, the F, the G, the A, the B diminished, and the C. And when I use those, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, no matter where I'm using it, they're all patterns. So in the key of D, I would have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Why? D has an F sharp and a C sharp. If I didn't play that F sharp and a C sharp, I would have had an F and a C, which really make that a different chord. Hear the difference between do, re, mi, minor third. It would just be abstracting out of the box. So what we do is we learn how to play that whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Now count them with me. In the key of C, we've got a whole step in between. Actually, I'm going to get rid of my majors and my minors because I don't really need to have those written on for what we're about to do. In between my 1 and my 2, I have a whole step. In between my 2 and my 3, I have a whole step. And in between my 3 and my 4, I have a half step. Now, if you already don't know what a whole step is from a C to a D. If I went from a C to a C sharp, that would be a diatone, meaning those notes are right next to each other. Here's a C, here's a C sharp. So when I play this C with a C sharp, it does not sound that great. You get this dissonance in diatone. Now, granted, as I mentioned in the last video, there are movements where you can use. You can use those diatones in some sort of music, in some sort of melody, which would work a lot of times in jazz. However, when we're playing just standard run-of-the-mill music, we generally don't run into a lot of diatones. Diatones create tension and build this uneasy feeling where you want that to resolve either to a major second or to just jump back to either a fifth or an octave, or even, heck, towards the sixth. Long story short, when I play C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, even if I'm on a piano, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, they are all straight through that section. Notice on the piano, when we play our C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, if I have a piano right here, which looks like some funky teeth, let's just say I'm doing the C, D, E, F, G, A, blah, blah, blah. When I've got a black key here and a black key here, I skip this, and then I've got a black key, and black key. Well, there isn't a tone in between the E and the F. Same thing happens on all stringed instruments. So even though E flat is a note and E natural is a note, we also have E sharp, which is actually called an F. We'll get into later why we explain things in an enharmonic fashion. Sometimes I'll say something as a C sharp, and sometimes I'll say it as a D flat. Both those suckers, they're the same. So what we do is when we realize all these pieces of information fit together like a puzzle, we realize the puzzle is like a 2 million piece puzzle piece. And the more of this you do, it's like putting out the corners and then the same colors and then the shapes. And by the time you're already 40, 50, 60, 80 pieces into it, it takes shape. So what I try to explain with Musically is we don't have to grasp all this right now, just little bits of piece of information. Watch this video, watch other videos, ask questions, get a piece of paper, write down, set that out. So today, you should have a pad and paper, and you should be writing down exactly what I'm writing out. The key information we've covered thus far in these first couple minutes, up till 10 minutes in this video, should be, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because those are all notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. When we have the key of C going from C to D, it does not go from C to C sharp. It goes from C to D. That's a major second, represented as a big old M and a little bitty 2. If I had a minor second, I have a little bitty 2 and a big old, little bitty M and a big old 2. I write them that way. I've seen them written that way. I was just writing them that way as well. Please bear in mind that a whole step, a whole tone, That's also considered a major second. A half tone, a semitone, that's considered a minor second. In between a 1 and a 3, there are 4 minor seconds, as we explained in the last video. C to C sharp, that's 1. C sharp to D, that's 2. D to E flat, 3. E flat to E, that is 4 tones. If I took off one of those minor second tones, I would get a D sharp or an E flat, which would give me a minor harmony. 1 flat 3. So what we do here is we realize that C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C has a certain type of tonal quality. Our modal structure, the major mode, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, is based out of a whole step from C to D, a whole step from D to E, a half step from E to F, a whole step from F to G, a whole step from G to A whole step from A to B, and a half step from B to C. Same thing works out modally when we're working this out on a piano. I'll find my black keys, and I'll put my hand, let's say right here on the 2 black notes. The white note right below that first black key, C sharp, is a C note. If I do C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, I have C to D is a major second. D to E is a major second. E to F, no black key in between. So that's a minor second, which is a half step. My F to G, that's a major second. G to A, major second. A to B, major second. And then B to C, minor second, giving us whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. Now, when we're playing on any other instrument, the same thing works. I have always suggested to play one string, find those notes going, and then find where this note is up here. And then find where this note is up here. What happens is you figure out that all the notes on the strings, pretty much if it's tuned in fifths, can go back. Mandolin, a little different. You're gonna go to the 7th fret rather than the 5th. Other than that, what we work on piano, guitar, saxophone, everything else is called muscle memory. So today, when you practice the Ionian mode, along with all the other modes, you're always going to make it happen from the Ionian mode. When you play your Dorian mode, the information I'm about to give you here at the 12:30 mark is going to be what you're going to be using to practice, okay? So if I start my C major at whole step, half step, whole step, half step, I get C Ionian. Well, in the key of C, I have D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, and then I have a B diminished, which those are whole tones scales, and we'll talk about those later. If I start from this whole step and change the whole step, half step, whole step, half step into whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, by taking this one that we skipped and putting it all the way at the end, that gives me my interval setup for a Dorian mode. So what I do is I kind of think of what is my minor second in every key. In the key of E, F sharp minor is my second minor. So there are 4 sharps in the key of E, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. So when I say these, if I had E here instead of C, I would have E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor, and D sharp diminished. All of those notes, just like here in C major, I can figure out what my triad is just by writing them out. The only caveat is that you need to know how many sharps and flats they have. Please watch the introductory video to Circle of Fifths, and that will highlight a little bit more on how you can figure it out. 1, by memorizing the notes on the grand staff. 2, by utilizing your hand, and then being able to use a system of going up 5 notes to find your relative, or going back down a half step. Case in point, how do I know that C has no sharps and no flats? I just memorized that. How do I know that G has 1 sharp? I go up 5 notes. C, D, E, F, G. G has 1 sharp. It's F sharp. When I memorize that, I can use that F sharp to go 5 notes from that. That gives me my next sharp. And then if I go 5 notes from G, G has 1 sharp, it's F sharp. G, A, B, C, D. D now has 2 sharps. One is still F sharp, and the other one is going to be F, G, A, B, C. So now C is a sharp. So D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished. How do I know that A has 3? Well, D, E, F, G, A. A now has 3 sharps. One's F sharp, one's C sharp, and how do I know what the next sharp is? C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F. C, D, E, F, G. G sharp. So when I say A sharp, or A major, I say A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished. I could go on and on like this, but I would suggest checking out any video on the circle of fifths and trying that. I'll grab the old ukulele so we can do this. Here is what a Dorian mode in the key of C major sounds like. Notice how I played the same notes as a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, except I added a D and I omitted the first C. So if I hear that C and I omit it, play the second note, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. What I just did was I dropped that first whole tone for the C, C to D, whole tone. I started at the D and went to E, so that's still a whole tone, but I just don't have 2 whole tones in the beginning, only the one. Therefore, whenever I'm playing, let's say, a 2-5-1 progression in the key of C, that means in the key of C, a 2-5-1 is D minor, G major, C major. So a D minor, G major to a C major. This is a 2-5-1 progression. Over the top of it, because I know that first chord is a minor, I play a C major scale, but I don't start with my first note. I play the only note in there that wasn't part of there was the C sharp going back into the D, using that little half step bend. Sorry about that. Long story short, when I had D minor, then a G, that becomes G Ionian. Meaning I do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I use that F sharp as my T, do in the key of G. Since I'm going to my 1 as the C, my C major could utilize a C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And what happens is when we do a minor to a major, to a major, I use a Dorian mode, then I use an Ionian mode, and then an Ionian. What I was doing was utilizing that Dorian mode in the back of this. So what I would suggest to the suggestible listener is to grab C major and use your 2-5-1. D minor to G major to C. And try utilizing your Dorian mode over the minor scale. D minor, Dorian. Here's why music is awesome and interesting. If I were to change my minor to another minor and play the G and the C the same, but instead of playing the D, one of those times I switch it up and play the E, I can play that D Dorian as the E Dorian, and it works. D minor, G major, to C major. Now let's say I did E minor here. G to C. Even though I changed the D minor to an E minor, both the 2 and the 3 are both minors. So I could have my D minor here, and I could play my E Dorian. E, da, 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 da. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So what I have here is I have led my groove. D minor, I started with E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Now Now that is still continuing the modal structure of that Dorian, but it falls within Dorian and Phrygian. If I start my do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do and start from my E, I get Phrygian. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. The idea between playing your Phrygian mode and your Dorian mode, or your Aeolian mode, the 3 mode, the 2 mode, the 3 mode, or the 6 mode, you have 3 choices of what kind of influence you want to use. Now we'll talk about the Aeolian because there's a multitude of different modes that are in that. But the Phrygian and the Dorian are pretty close. The one thing I haven't said about the Dorian, it has this raised 6. So no matter what you're doing it in, you can throw that in there. D, E, F, G, A, B, you know, G, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's your Ionian. If you start with your D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So let's say we pick a different chord and we're playing like an E minor to an F. You can choose to play the E Dorian over there, but if we're playing E minor and we know that E is the 3rd in the key of C, you can play a D Dorian, you can play your C major, you can play your F Lydian, you can play your G mixed Lydian over the top of these, as long as you don't think of them as modal structures, which have to be. We do chord pairings when we're talking about modal structures. So in Dorian, whenever you hear a minor chord, what we do is we take that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we build it for a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and then a half step, and then a whole step. Remember, in a Dorian mode, when you're using this type of structure, you're quite literally playing the same bass note that you are, except you're thinking about it as being an extension of that first scale mode. So, having said that, write these down. Write out your DFA, write out your GBD, write out your CEG. Know that you've got 3 chords, D minor, G major, and C major. On the first one, go slow and introduce yourself to that C sharp once again doesn't work. I always like doing this. It falls into more like an Aeolian mixed Lydian or a harmonic minor because it uses the T. I digress. So when watching these videos, don't get too overwhelmed. Write all this stuff down. Go view other videos. Go up to Wikipedia on a music page. Check out a bunch of different like music academy theory things online. What you're going to find out is a lot of people have a different way to explain Dorian. A lot of times you'll see an instructor with a guitar or a piano or something that plays something over the top of it. And then what I've always done is try to emulate that. And what happens is if you don't know how to build muscle memory and move your fingers around the fretboard in the first place or on the piano, some of these things that should be just obvious aren't, because nobody's taken the time to explain them. Like when you're playing a 5th on a piano, that's 7 minor seconds. Any note that you go to, you should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and be able to hear what a 5th is. Well, you can do that too here. A C, C, D, E, F, G. Well, my G and my C, 5ths. What we do, it becomes muscle memory. So with Dorian and Ionian and every mode we're going to watch in this series, you're going to be doing C, D, 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 C, D. That is a major second. And then you do D, E, D, E, D, E, D, E, D, E, D, E, no matter what you're doing on it. Just get used to those intervals, and then you do E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F, E, F. After you're done with the 2-note phrasings, you do 3. So C, D, E, C, D, E, C, D, E, C, D, E, C, D, E. When you get through it, you should have A, B, C, or A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, B, C, A, B, C, D, B, C, D, B, C, D, C, D, C, D. When you go through these structures, at the same pace, so you'd be like, when you get done with the 2s, the 3s, and you get done with the 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3. When you get through those, by the time you get to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, when you get through all those, what those lead to are improvisational skills where you get to choose what notes from what scale, in what order, in what speed and tempo and loudness. Those steps of learning notes individually, notes together as harmony, notes as triads for chords, then notes in correlation as what they would be in a key for a melody. So, fascinating rhythm, you got me on the move, fascinating rhythm. All those notes correlate to which is a great rhythm practice to go to, but if you started at fascinating rhythm, you got me on the go, that's just the melody. Well, improvisation-wise, I could go fascinating rhythm, you got me on the go. I can do any number of accent notes in between our chord structures. Everything in between our chords is all superfluous. All we want is to associate with. What we do with Dorian is by hearing and going, those are all 3 major chords. But as soon as we hear a as soon as we hear that minor, that's where we get to rip-roar it. So I hope this helped a little bit. Sit down, write this out. D Dorian is in the key of C. When I play E Dorian, it is in the key of D major. D major has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Notice with the E minor, you still have E, G, and B. That F sharp and C sharp do not tie into that note except for when you're playing full scale movements. So if I had E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, that's an E major. Well, what comes right after E? F sharp. So it'd be F sharp minor. F sharp minor, G sharp minor. Oh, da, 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 da. That would be a F sharp Dorian over the top of an E minor. Da, 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 da. So, couple things that I would suggest: writing this down. 2, watching as much videos as you can, answering and asking questions from different comment sections, YouTube channels, and then talking to your friends and neighbors, and maybe seeking out somebody in your local area to get lessons from. Giving somebody a lesson plan as a teacher is a wonderful thing because I'm connected with somebody on the pace at where they're at and the pace at where I'm at teaching. As a teacher, I don't claim to know everything or anything really. The end result is most of what I've learned has come through repetition. So what I try and say is practice the practice of practicing. From today's takeaway, if you know that Ionian is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and Dorian out of do, re starts on re. So if you've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If you've got 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, do, 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 do. Ooh, there's a Dorian out loud vocally. Try that. Match it with your instrument, no matter what it is. Doing 2 at once helps you internalize that tone. Anywho, I hope any of this made sense to you. I really enjoyed being here for today. Please subscribe, please like, and please tune in. My friend.